Good morning and welcome to the latest of the Shooting Straight with me, Voice of the Forge, once again shooting straight from the lip. Recently I have had cause to respond to a number of tweets on Twitter regarding assaults on a person called Tommy Robinson, who's also known as Stephen Laxley Lennon. I have defended Tommy Robinson in these tweets, not because I agree with him politically, but because of a point of law. Regardless of what a person's ideologies, everyone in this country is entitled to the right to one's security of person. The act which defines assault and other injuries to a person is framed at its starting point in the Offences Against the Person Act, which was first introduced in 1861. Now, there have been other legislations and other statutory implements and further parliamentary definitions of various kinds of assault, from common assault to actual bodily harm to grievous bodily harm with intent to grievous bodily harm without intent, all the way up to murder. Right, now those are specific offences. But at its base, anything which is an unjustified act of force without consent from another person upon the person of another is an assault. Okay? That is very clear. The law is unambiguous on this. So why have I defended Tommy Robinson? Simple. Because ideology of whatever kind is not a lawful excuse to assault somebody else. Now, I don't care what your motivations are for that action. If you have turned around and you have punched somebody, thrown an egg at somebody, or poured milkshake over somebody, that is an assault. I don't care about your politics. I don't care about your religion. I don't care about your ideology. It is an assault. It is an offence under the law. Now, what is an offence under the law? Well, basically, it's a crime against society. And every single one of us is a member of society. So we have this thing where we are expected not to carry weapons, not to arm ourselves in defence, because we have given over our defence to the state. This is what's called the social contract. Okay, we do not carry guns as a matter of course, we do not carry knives as a matter of course, we're not allowed to carry pepper spray as a matter of course, because, as the social contract in the UK is if you are a victim, then it is the duty of the state, and the instrument of the state in this case is the police, to defend you. In this case, you have been assaulted. Person who assaults you gets taken away, is arrested, interviewed, and potentially charged. Now, there are times when violence can be used in defence. Say, for instance, and this is a hypothetical, the gentleman in question had lifted his arm, okay, so that the milkshake was suspended over Tommy's head. Under the law, if he can prove that he justifiably felt that he was about to be attacked, then he can use a defence under Section 3 of the Criminal Law Act 1967, where you are allowed to defend your person, the person of another, or property. So, were this an instance where Tommy had punched him first before the drink was spilt, and everyone would be saying, oh, lock Tommy Robinson up for assault, he would actually have a legal defence. The gentleman in question who poured the drink had no such defence. Now, he's claiming that the drink slipped. Now, there's video evidence of this. Had the milkshake fallen to the ground, the top had flown off, and the contents of the milkshake had then splattered Tommy Robinson from like the shoes and his legs, then the gentleman in question would have a defence. He would have a defence of accident, he didn't mean to do it, and all the rest of it. But you can quite see that he deliberately upends the drink over Tommy Robinson. That is assault. And this is important. Why is it important? It's important because only a few days ago, somebody threw an egg at Jeremy Corbyn. That person was arrested, charged, and jailed for 28 days. I do not care about the individual politics. I don't care if it's Jeremy Corbyn. I don't care if it's Tommy Robinson. I don't care if it's the fucking Easter Bunny. It is unacceptable to assault someone by throwing anything at them. It is against the law. It is an obvious assault, and I have no bones about admitting this, I was in the police for 10 years, and had I been the officer there, then the person throwing the milkshake would have been arrested and removed to a police station. He would have been investigated via a tape-recorded interview under caution, and then, unfortunately, the CPS would then decide whether or not it would be taken to court. When I was a police officer, it wasn't the CPS's decision, it was a sergeant's decision in the police station. But now we have to kowtow to the CPS. Now, a number of people have called Tommy Robinson a fascist and therefore he deserves it. Unfortunately, history proves you wrong, because ideological suppression of another person's views because you disagree with them by violent assault is actually the hallmark of a fascist. I do not agree with what you say, therefore I will violently assault you and shut you down so that you are too afraid to speak, is actually a fascist tactic. So calling the victim of such an assault a fascist really is ludicrous. It is Kafkaesque. It is ridiculous. It is idiotic in many ways. Now, again, I am recording this because I want to make it abundantly clear that I do not necessarily agree with Tommy Robinson's positions. I do not necessarily agree with Jeremy Corbyn's positions. Hell, I didn't agree with Prescott's positions when he got attacked with an egg, and that was all over the news. But at the end of the day, they are all assaults, they are all chargeable offences, and they should all be treated the same. So why is it that we feel that we can turn around and go, ha ha ha, good one, he deserved it? That is what is known as victim blaming. If it was a woman who had been raped because of what she was wearing, there would be outcry, and rightly so, because of victim blaming. So why is it that it is perfectly okay to victim blame one section of society and not another? Well, the answer is actually quite simple. The answer is because he is a political opponent whose ideas you do not agree with. And unfortunately, as I've said, that is the first step to fascism. This is not hyperbole. This is historical fact. And unfortunately, despite the amount of time that schools have spent teaching the history of World War II and everything else, we are in a society which somehow feels that it is right to silence one's opponent, not through reasoned debate and discourse, but through throwing things and being violent. This is a very sorry state of affairs, because it is the first step to tyranny. Because when you have a group of people who feel that they can assault their opponents, cow them into silence, and make them afraid to speak out, and they are not held accountable under the law, in the fact that the state at the time shields these perpetrators, does not do its job, and effectively allows this violence to occur, then what you have is what's called state-sanctioned violence. When you have state-sanctioned violence against a basically political idea, then you have the makings of what happened in fascist Germany. The state controls how you think, because if you don't think the right way, then you will be violently assaulted, possibly even killed, because of your political view. There will be people that listen to this and go, "Psst, you're talking bollocks." If I am, prove me wrong. Go into the history books, look up what happened in Europe with the rise of Nazi Germany, and you will find that I am right. If you don't want to look it up and call me wrong anyway, then fine, that's up to you. But if you refuse to engage properly and just say that I'm wrong when you have no evidence to actually back up that I am wrong, then I will invoke the most famous of Christopher Hitchens' quotes, which is, "That which is asserted without evidence can be dismissed without evidence." And I will also use another famous quote. I can't remember who said it off the top of my head, but it is simply this: the greatest the greatest act of damn it, I'm struggling. What is it? Basically, it's the greatest lie that's been perpetrated on society, is to say that your ignorance, that your opinion, no matter how ignorant, is the equivalent of my knowledge. If I have knowledge of something, and I can demonstrate a knowledge of that, you do not get to dismiss that unless you have a compelling argument of your own. Okay? So, in this instance, I am saying, I don't care what your political biases are, I don't care what your stances are on any number of things. If we are to have a free and fair society, then allowing someone to be attacked over their political view is the first step to tyranny. It is the first step to fascism, regardless of what you think fascism actually is. And we have to have one rule of law for everybody, which means that there is no shield for political or ideological acts of violence which the state willfully refuses to prosecute. If someone is assaulted, then an offence has been committed, and that offence should be investigated. And that goes across the board, whether it's Tommy Robinson, whether it's Jeremy Corbyn, whether it's John Prescott, or whether it's a 9-year-old girl who has been sexually assaulted and trafficked by a white man, a black man, or a fucking alien. Once the evidence is there, the state does not turn a blind eye. The state investigates and actually prosecutes the perpetrator of such acts. End of. It's as simple as that. And if you don't agree with me, then I suggest that you take a good long hard look at the kind of place that you want to live. And this isn't a threat, but if I decide one day that I don't like your politics, then you are agreeing that I can go around to where you live and I can assault you because I don't like what you say. Isn't a threat. That is what you are advocating for. You are advocating for a system where if someone doesn't like what you say or what you do, then you don't have protection under the law. That means that you yourself can become a target for the same thing that you are advocating for. So if for no other reason, pure enlightened self-interest, I don't want to be attacked for things that I may say or do, therefore nobody else should. It's that simple. It's that simple. If you don't like it, well, I suggest that you take a good long look at yourself in the mirror, because I think you might have a problem. I am, as always, Voice of the Forge, and this has been me shooting from the lip on the instance of what is assault, and why we should have one rule of law for everybody, where everybody is equal under the law, and everybody has the entitlement and the expectation that the law is properly enforced and protects people. Thank you.